Life has a way of thrusting you into the very heart of things, where on the surface everything appears calm, but beneath it all, chaos reigns. It's like being in the eye of a hurricane, silent on the outside, yet you can feel the storm building, the pressure mounting with each passing second. That's how I felt when Marina returned home from her office party that night. It was well past midnight, edging closer to 2 a.m., and she crept in like a thief in the dark, trying to avoid waking me. I had been awake for hours, lying in bed on high alert, like a soldier on duty. The sound of the key turning in the lock, the soft creak of the door, and then there she was, sneaking in with a guilty grin plastered on her face, the kind that screamed she was hiding something. She looked like a child caught red-handed, and her attempt to act surprised felt all too forced. "Why aren't you asleep? What's going on?" she asked. I didn't move. I didn't even blink. I just kept my voice steady as I answered, "I was waiting." I narrowed my eyes, studying her every move as if I were a predator sizing up its prey. She dropped her bag and plopped down in the hallway, fiddling nervously with her shoes, avoiding my gaze. Her shoulders were hunched as if she were trying to shrink away from the weight of her own guilt. That was all I needed to see. I'd known her for 8 years, long enough to recognize when something wasn't right. She tried to brush it off, saying, "We just had some fun, danced a bit." But my eyes caught the faint bruises on her wrists and legs, the marks of something far deeper than what she was willing to admit. The realization hit me like a punch to the gut. "What's this?" I asked, pointing at her hands, and that's when her calm facade cracked. She met my eyes with an unsettling sense of composure, letting out a forced laugh. "Oh, that's nothing. I tripped while dancing. We played some games, had a few contests, no big deal." But her voice cracked like even she didn't believe her own words. Her smile didn't reach her eyes, and that's when I knew the cracks in her story were too wide to ignore. But I didn't push it further then. Not that night. I knew better than to stir up drama at such an hour. The seed of doubt had already been planted, though, and it gnawed at me through the night, infecting my every thought. Something had changed, not just in her but in me too, and I couldn't shake it. The next morning she went about her usual routine, made breakfast, got the girls ready for preschool, kissed me goodbye, but something was different. Her eyes wouldn't meet mine, and that subtle shift, that cold distance, made something inside me snap. It wasn't jealousy, I realized. No, this was something much deeper, something that whispered of betrayal. That feeling lingered, circling like a vulture, picking at my resolve. I couldn't let it go. I needed to know, and I would do whatever it took to find out the truth. The next day, I found myself at the resort where the party had been held. It was this upscale countryside retreat, fancy as hell, with pools, lounges, the works. I went in with a plan, pretend to be a potential client, gather some information. I played the part well, asked to speak to the manager, and was greeted by a young woman with a wide smile, eager to show me around. She gave me the grand tour, dance floors, bars, spas, rooms, but my eyes weren't really on the surroundings. I was scanning, searching for something, anything that could give me what I needed. And that's when I saw them. Cameras. I kept my tone casual, as if I were just making small talk. "You've got cameras in all the public areas, right?" I asked, trying to sound like I was just asking for peace of mind. "Of course," she said, still beaming. "We keep the footage for a week." That was it, the piece I needed. But there was still the issue of how to get my hands on that footage. There was no way they would just hand it over to a random guy off the street. As I left the resort, my mind was racing. How could I pull this off? Then, like some twist of fate, I ran into Olga. She used to work with me in the office, but now she worked at the resort as an administrator. We exchanged pleasantries, reminiscing about old office gossip, and that's when the idea hit me. "Olga," I said, leaning in a little closer, "can we grab a coffee sometime? I need to ask you a favor." She raised an eyebrow, surprised, but agreed. That evening we met at a quiet cafe and I laid it all out, everything. I wasn't proud of it, but I had no choice. I needed answers, and this was the only way. "You realize this isn't exactly legal?" she asked, her voice tense, biting at her lip. "I know," I replied, my tone desperate. "But it means everything to me. I just need to know what really happened." Something in her shifted, maybe the desperation in my voice or the weight of the truth I was trying to uncover, but she agreed to help. Days passed and then Olga called. I could hear the panic in her voice before she even spoke. "Alex, I did it, but now I have a problem." We met again at the same cafe, and this time, her hands were shaking. She told me that the security guard had caught her while she was copying the footage, and now he was blackmailing her, demanding something vile in exchange for keeping quiet. I was sickened, floored. "Quit," I told her, no hesitation. "Walk away from that place. I'll help you. I'll find you another job if I have to, but don't go back there. She nodded, and right there at that table she handed me a flash drive. Along with it there was a napkin hastily scrawled with a few notes. When I got home I plugged the drive into my computer. My hands trembled as I waited, my chest tightening as I stared at the screen. The silence in the room was deafening, and my heart pounded so loudly that I almost thought it might crack the walls. I hit play. At first it was just footage of the party, people laughing, music blasting, drinks flowing. Marina was right in the middle of it, laughing, spinning around a little tipsy, clearly having a good time. At first it seemed harmless like any other work event. But then the atmosphere shifted. The smiles lingered longer, the touches grew more intimate. The line between innocence and something darker became blurred. And then I saw it. She walked off toward the sauna with one of her girlfriends and two guys. The security camera captured them through the glass. What I saw next will forever be burned into my mind. When the footage ended I just sat there, motionless. No anger, no tears, just this crushing emptiness as if someone had hollowed me out. I couldn't understand it, didn't want to. All I could think was why. I gathered the kids' things and took them to their grandmother's house. I needed space time. Whatever conversation I was about to have with Marina, it had to be one-on-one, no shouting, no drama. Even though inside I was seething. When she came home I was already waiting by the door. "We need to talk," I said, my voice calm, colder than ice. She froze in the hallway like a deer caught in headlights before sinking onto the couch, hands clenched in her lap, eyes wide. "What happened at the corporate party?" I asked. She stammered, her voice trembling. "It was nothing, I don't remember much. I drank too much." I cut her off, my tone firm, unyielding. "I've seen the recordings." Her face went pale, lips tight, eyes darting around, desperate for a way out. And then came the words, hurried, broken, full of excuses, pressure from my colleagues. I didn't want to, it wasn't what it looked like. But I didn't listen. I couldn't. The truth was right there in every frame of that footage. 8 years of shared life, of trust, of building something I thought was unbreakable, and she shattered it just like that. Like glass underfoot. "Marina," I said quietly, "it's over. Pack your things." She broke down, tears flowing, promises pouring out, but I didn't hear any of it. I couldn't. There's a line, and when someone crosses it, when they burn the bridge behind them, that's it. No amount of crying, no pleading can bring it back. Now we're in the middle of court proceedings and I'm doing everything I can to get custody of the kids. They're all that matter now. No pain, no betrayal, no past. Marina made her choice. And as for me, there's no satisfaction in this, no, I told you so. Just a quiet emptiness, like standing in the ruins of a broken world, realizing that the chapter is done. It's time to turn the page. Life is strange. Sometimes it tears everything apart, not out of cruelty but to make space. To clear room so you can rebuild something new. Something stronger. Something wiser. And that's my focus now.